Do you want to know how to encourage children who are not motivated to learn? I'm Nicholeen Peck, and I teach all over the world about parenting, good communication, how to build strong family bonds, child development, and education, all through the lens of the principle self-government. And in this video, we're talking about motivating someone to learn. So in this video, we're going to talk about why children end up being not motivated to learn and what changes we can make within them and in our culture to help them be more motivated. So I've raised 4 children of my own. I'm now also a grandmother. I've got 4 grandchildren, and I also did therapeutic treatment care for troubled teens for a lot of years, who were all between the ages of 12 and 18. Now, some of them had learning disabilities. This would make them very frustrated when it would come to their academics, and so they felt like, well, I'm just not good at that, and so I don't really want to do it. So I had a lot of people come through my home who had a hard time with learning. In fact, 2 of my biological children were pretty dyslexic, and they struggled with reading. Even though they wanted to do it, they oftentimes had a hard time doing it and would sometimes lose some motivation to work on it because it just felt like they weren't accomplishing their goal to be able to read. Now, this could happen to a lot of people. In fact, I remember it happened to myself. When I was young, I was very bright, but I did have a hard time getting the reading to come together. I remember that for multiple years in elementary school, we would read these books and I would struggle so much, and I just felt like it was so hard. I wasn't getting it. I wasn't understanding. I remember those feelings. And then finally there hit that point where I understood, right? That's the hook moment, where finally everything hooks together and you understand what's going on in what you're trying to read. This can sometimes be really fast for people. I had 2 of my children who at age 3 were able to hook it all together, understand everything. It was amazing. And then I had 2 children. I'm talking about my biological children here. Then I had 2 children who started at age 3 because they wanted to so badly, but didn't put it together until they were like 9. That's a lot of years. 6 years of working on getting all of the reading really working and putting together. And I had to work with them diligently on it too, daily. That was a big deal. Now, I didn't worry too much because I did homeschool them, so that took away some of the pressure to fit in with their peers. In fact, when my daughter got to university and she started studying some child development stuff, she said, "Mom, let's talk about my childhood." And so she was doing a project and I was telling her all about her childhood, and I started talking about her dyslexia, and she was like, "What? I was dyslexic? I didn't know how to read?" And I'm like, "No, you had a terrible time, and this is what happened." She's like, "Mom, if I would have known that, I would have thought that I was stupid." And I said, "Well, I didn't spend any time telling you about that. We just kept working on it. We just kept going." And I think that's one thing that can really make a difference for motivation for people. If they're comparing themselves to others all the time, then sometimes they can lose hope. So we need to make sure that it seems like any bumps that are in the road are completely normal. These are things that everybody faces. That means that we need to make sure that our children understand that normal learning can feel a little bit messy sometimes and a little bumpy sometimes. That's okay. And that we don't have to be perfect at everything we try. Just because we're perfect at writing our name or we're really good at numbers doesn't mean we're going to be good at spelling or reading, and vice versa. And then there's other things too. We might be really good with our coordination and dancing and climbing on things, but we're just not really good at the academics yet. That's okay. Everything develops in its own time, and we don't need to feel like we're rushed. And our children who are really good at one thing might lose motivation or focus or desire to work on something else because it doesn't come easily. That's one of the reasons that children lose motivation, is because one thing or a couple things come easily. Maybe music is easy, but reading is hard. Well, we need to let them know that everyone has their easy things and everybody has their hard things. That's just how it is. And we're just going to keep working on stuff till we get it right, or till we get it how we want it and how it feels good to us, and then we'll move on from there. So there are multiple different reasons why a person might struggle with motivation. Some of it could also be because all of the other things around them are so distracting, like the devices and the TV, and maybe even the parents are disengaged in the learning process. And so the child feels like, I'm alone. There's so many more fun, stimulating things I could be doing. Nobody seems to care about this. I just have to go through and check it off the page. It could also be that the child is so intelligent that the stuff is just a waste of their time. So let's remember that too. Sometimes when a person is really bright, they don't need all the workbook pages. They don't need all those extra assignments. They've already got it, so let them move on. So I homeschooled my biological children. My foster children all went to school. But with my homeschool, I recognized that I had the unique opportunity to personalize everything so that my children could learn at their own rate, a rate that would keep things exciting for them. The school does not have the ability to do that as well because they have a group of people all together in one setting, and they have to get through certain things, and they have to show proficiency in those certain things. As a homeschooler, I did not have those same restrictions on me. So what I did was I said, okay, where are they at on this? Now, how am I going to motivate them? Let's say I want them to learn music, because I did. I feel like that's part of a good, well-rounded education. Then guess what I'm going to do? I'm going to expose them to great musicians. We're going to go to symphonies and concerts and listen to Mozart and Bach and Beethoven and Vivaldi, and we're going to sing it, and we're going to be part of chorus groups that are part of it. So it's going to seem like this is part of regular life. I'm used to this. This is called inspiring, not requiring. If I want my children to be really great at reading, guess what I'm going to do? I'm going to read. I'm going to show them part of adult life is reading. In fact, I'm going to read to them, not just to myself. I'm going to spend time reading every single day and make sure that they can see it. When you inspire a person by doing something in front of them, that makes them more motivated to do it. So you have to make sure that you have the time where you talk about what do you want to accomplish. Do you know lots of times with their learning and their education, they're just going off what the teacher wants them to accomplish, what you want them to accomplish, and they never set any of their own goals. They never get to study any of their own books, their own things. They just have to go through the checkoff list year after year after year. No wonder our society develops a hate of learning so much. How is a love of learning developed? A love of learning is developed when the person has buy-in. They have investment on the learning experience. So if you've already subscribed to this channel, then you know I believe in proactive teaching, planning, because that's part of self-government. And this channel is all about teaching self-government to ourselves and to our children. So what does a person need to do to be motivated? They need a plan. Now, some people don't follow through with all their plans, but the very act of making a plan makes all the difference. So there is something that I teach in the teaching self-government method of communication called mentoring sessions. So we have parent-mentor sessions, and there's even journals where you can keep track of these parent-mentor sessions. This is a mentoring journal. Each child has their own mentor journals. You can get these at teachingselfgovernment.com. You see there's a scheduling section at the top where they schedule out their days. They plan fun goals. They share exciting news. They plan dates with their parents. They also make preparations for their development in all 4 areas of their development. So their personal, their social, their intellectual, and their spiritual development. So a good parent spends time in all of those areas with their children on a regular basis so that their child sees, I need to make decisions that help me further develop and move along. When my children were adults, I asked them, what is your favorite thing that we ever did for you? And you know what they said? These meetings. They said, Mom, we felt ourselves maturing and growing. We got to talk to you about anything and you helped us accomplish our goals. It made learning more exciting and fun. If you want your children to really want to learn, then they need to see that it's really a lot of their own decision to do, that it's not something you're doing to them. In fact, as a homeschooler, there was a time when I had conversations with each of my children and I said, I can't teach you anything. I can't make you learn. I can present information to you and I can create a good environment for learning for you. But in the end, you have to choose to learn anything that you are going to take with you through your life. So it's all on you. You choose to learn or you choose not to. You get to pick every single moment of the day. And suddenly when they had that type of weight on them, that made a huge difference. They were like, oh, now I know it's up to me. I've got to do something about it. Whether you homeschool your children like I did, or you don't, and you just want them to be motivated at school, these meetings are going to be valuable to you. And you should think of yourself as a homeschooler anyway, because every single parent technically is an educator for their children. In fact, you're the primary educator, and you're the one that helps drive the motivation. Some people promise treats or snacks or positive consequences for motivation, but those things are very short-lived, and usually the child doesn't get full buy-in. If you want them to really care about the education, you've got to give it to them. There are so many videos that I have on this channel related to homeschooling that could help you, whether you are actually doing the full education at home or whether you're sending your child somewhere else for some of their education. Because you are a homeschooler and because you need to be engaged in the academic drive that the child has, you need to help them find that motivation. Now, there are other things that you can do to help a child be motivated, such as teaching them how to follow instructions, accept no answers, and disagree appropriately. Those are 3 of the 4 basic skills of self-government that can help them communicate about their education and follow through with their learning time and have more exactness in the things that they're doing. But those things are probably best taught in a different video. So there is a video all about the 4 basic skills, where it's all about role-playing the 4 basic skills, and I role-play those with my son. You can see that video here on the channel. Click on the link to that video next so that you can learn more about those skills to help you in your educational success.